Bob De Niro as my mentor, and you know, it's a big deal for me.
Jason Statham never planned to be an action star. He was a diver, a street seller, a guy who knew how to take a punch before he knew how to throw one on camera.
I get a great kick out of doing these things. It's, you either sit on the sofa or go and make an action movie.
Yeah.
But when Guy Ritchie pulled him off the streets of London and put him in lock, stock, in 2 smoking barrels, everything shifted. "I don't act like other people act," Statham once said. "I just try to be honest about who the character is." For 2 decades, he's carved out a unique space in Hollywood. No drama school, no fancy training, just raw instinct and a willingness to do his own stunts. But even tough guys have heroes. These aren't the actors who taught him technique or method. These are the performers who showed him that being real on screen matters more than being perfect. The ones who proved that authenticity beats everything else. Statham respects actors the way a mechanic respects a well-built engine. He can spot the difference between something that looks good and something that actually works. These 6 actors work every single time, no matter what you throw at them. Here are the actors Jason Statham admires most. Not because they're famous or flashy, but because they show up, do the job, and make it look like they were born for it. 6. Clive Owen. Clive Owen taught Jason Statham that you don't have to shout to be dangerous.
I think he's fantastic, you know, as for this kind of stuff doing. I had 2 huge fight scenes. They were both with Jason in the film, and I don't think there's anyone around.
When Statham was starting out in British crime films, Owen was already showing London how cool could look on screen. In films like Croupier and Closer, Owen brought a quiet menace that Statham immediately recognized and respected. "Clive never tries to prove he's tough," Statham observed. "He just is tough, and the camera picks it up." Owen had this ability to make every word sound like it carried weight. He could deliver a threat that felt more dangerous than any explosion. Statham watched Owen work and learned that sometimes the most powerful thing an actor can do is hold back. What impressed Statham most was Owen's precision. Every gesture meant something. Every pause served a purpose. In Shoot 'Em Up, Owen played an action hero, but he approached it like a surgeon approaching an operation. Clean, efficient, no wasted motion. Statham saw a kindred spirit in that approach. Owen showed Statham that British actors didn't have to fake American accents to be taken seriously in action films. They could stay true to who they were and let their natural intensity speak for itself. Owen's characters always felt like real people who happened to be in extraordinary situations, not superheroes pretending to be human. Statham learned from Owen that great action acting isn't about being the loudest guy in the room. It's about being the one everyone else is quietly watching, waiting to see what he'll do next. 5. Michael Caine. Michael Caine has been Jason Statham's North Star since day one. Not because they're both British, but because Caine figured out something that most actors never learn.
So many films now with sort of fight sequences and gunplay and revisiting things and just being fit enough.
How to be completely natural while doing completely unnatural things. Caine could deliver exposition about nuclear weapons or ancient curses and make it sound like everyday conversation. Michael makes everything sound believable because he believes it himself, Statham said. Watch him in any film. He's never winking at the audience. He's just living in that world. Statham studied Caine's work in everything from Get Carter to The Dark Knight, watching how Caine brought the same commitment to every role, whether he was playing a gangster or a butler. What amazed Statham was Caine's fearlessness about being ordinary. In an industry obsessed with being larger than life, Caine found power in being recognizably human. He could stand next to Batman and still feel like someone you might meet at the pub. That took real skill and absolute confidence. Caine taught Statham that great actors don't disappear into their roles. They bring their roles into themselves. Caine was always recognizably Michael Caine, but somehow that made his characters more believable, not less. Harry Palmer felt different from Alfred Pennyworth, but both felt like real people. Statham learned from Caine that the secret to longevity in Hollywood isn't reinventing yourself for every role. It's finding what's true about yourself and letting that truth serve every character you play. That lesson shaped how Statham approaches every script he reads. 4. Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro showed Jason Statham what total dedication to craft looks like. While other actors talked about their process, De Niro just did the work.
Fine. So this whole project's based loosely on that, and you know we got Clive Owen and Robert De Niro, and we got...
Statham watched Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, and Heat, studying how De Niro could be terrifying and vulnerable in the same scene without ever breaking character. Bobby doesn't waste time being charming, Statham noted. He just finds the truth of whoever he's playing and lives there. De Niro's approach to research became legendary. He'd drive taxis, learn languages, gain weight, lose weight, whatever the role demanded. Statham respected that blue-collar approach to acting. What struck Statham most was De Niro's intensity. Not the shouting kind, but the focused kind. Like a boxer preparing for a fight, De Niro brought complete concentration to every moment. In Heat, his bank robber felt real because De Niro had studied real bank robbers. He didn't guess at the character. He built him from the ground up. De Niro taught Statham that action sequences work better when they come from character, not from special effects. In Ronin, De Niro's chase scenes felt desperate because his character was desperate. The stunts served the story, not the other way around. Statham carried that lesson into every Fast and Furious film he made. Statham learned from De Niro that great actors don't just memorize lines, they memorize lives. They know how their character walks, talks, thinks, and reacts before the camera ever rolls. That preparation shows up in every frame, even when nobody notices it consciously. 3. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen taught Jason Statham that sometimes the best acting happens between the lines.
You know, action for the sake of action film. It's a dramatically driven story, and you know that's why we've got some great actors in there.
McQueen could say more with a look than most actors could say with a monologue. In Bullet, The Great Escape, and in Le Mans, McQueen made being tough look as natural as breathing. Steve never seemed like he was trying, Statham observed. He just existed in front of the camera, and somehow that was enough. McQueen had this quality that made every role feel like a documentary about his character's life. Nothing felt performed or artificial. Everything felt lived in and real. What impressed Statham most was McQueen's relationship with action. McQueen did his own motorcycle jumps and car chases not to show off, but because he understood that authenticity translates through the screen. Audiences could tell the difference between real danger and movie danger. McQueen always chose real. McQueen showed Statham that great action stars don't need to be superhuman. They just need to be completely human under extraordinary pressure. McQueen's characters got scared, made mistakes, and sometimes lost fights. That made their victories mean something when they came. Statham learned from McQueen that cool isn't something you put on like a costume. It's something you earn by staying calm when everything around you is falling apart. McQueen never tried to be cool. He just refused to panic, and that made all the difference. Directors would often let McQueen improvise because they knew he wouldn't break character or push too hard for attention. His instincts were always perfect for the moment. 2. Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson taught Jason Statham that you don't need many words to make a big impact.
Before, it means it was decent, and here's a chance to give it another spin for a different generation.
Bronson built a career on saying less and meaning more. In Death Wish, The Magnificent Seven, and Once Upon a Time in the West, Bronson let his presence do most of the talking. Charlie understood something about screen presence that nobody teaches in acting class, Statham said. He knew that the camera loves stillness. He'd just stand there, and you couldn't look away. Bronson had this ability to make silence feel dangerous. His characters thought before they spoke, and when they finally said something, it mattered. What amazed Statham was Bronson's economy. No wasted gestures, no unnecessary expressions, no showing off. Bronson approached acting like a craftsman building furniture. Every piece had to serve a purpose, or it didn't belong. That discipline made everything he did feel important. Bronson showed Statham that great action heroes don't need origin stories or complicated backstories. Sometimes the mystery is more powerful than the explanation. Bronson's characters felt like they had full lives before the movie started, but we didn't need to know every detail to believe in them. Statham learned from Bronson that the most intimidating thing an actor can do is make the audience wait. Bronson never rushed to the punchline or the action sequence. He let tension build naturally until the release felt inevitable. That patience made every Bronson film feel like it was building towards something important. Even in ensemble films, Bronson commanded attention without demanding it. He taught Statham that true power comes from control, not chaos. 1. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone taught Jason Statham that great actors don't just play heroes. They become them through sheer force of will.
Also fallen into that trap, and maybe Jason has too, that sometimes you get more, as you quote.
Stallone didn't just write Rocky and Rambo. He lived inside those characters until the line between actor and role disappeared completely. Sly showed me what it means to never give up, Statham said, not just in the movies, but in real life. He fought for every role, wrote his own scripts, did whatever it took to make his vision happen. Stallone's determination reminded Statham of his own journey from street vendor to action star. Both men understood that Hollywood doesn't hand out opportunities. You have to take them. What impressed Statham most was Stallone's physicality. Stallone didn't just look strong on screen. He was strong, and he earned that strength through years of training and discipline. When Rocky got beaten up, Stallone felt every punch. When Rambo carried heavy weapons, Stallone carried the real weight. That authenticity showed in every frame. Stallone taught Statham that great action stars don't just perform their roles. They live them completely. Stallone's characters felt real because Stallone had lived parts of their stories. The underdog fighting for respect, the warrior carrying impossible burdens, the man who refuses to quit when everyone expects him to fall. Statham learned from Stallone that the best way to play a fighter is to actually be one, not just physically but mentally and emotionally. Stallone fought for every movie, every scene, every moment on screen. That fighting spirit became the foundation of every character he played. It's a lesson Statham carries into every film he makes, every stunt he performs, every role he takes on. When Statham watches Stallone's later films, he sees an artist who never stopped evolving, never stopped pushing himself to find new ways to tell stories about human resilience. Jason Statham never went to drama school, but he got his education from watching these masters work. They taught him that great acting isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about finding the truth in yourself and letting that truth serve the story. That's what real craftsmanship looks like.